I've got to do this to you now, Rome. I'm going to ask you all something, and you got to be honest with me.
All right.
If I said, you know what, something's got to happen, and if it happens, the Louisville basketball team automatically wins the title, okay?
Oh, gosh.
And this is what happens.
Here we go. It's July.
Rome has to shoot under 100 by the end of 2025. Is Louisville basketball winning the title, guys, or not?
By 2025, yes.
Well, I mean, you've only got 7 months. You do it in 7 months?
I'm shooting what is on path for a 140 right now.
Okay.
I haven't shot 18. I've only shot 9. Got my 70.
Okay.
I shot 11 on the last par 4, the last hole.
You got to get the 18 down because it's like a stamina thing. You know, golf is just weird, man. It's one of those. It's so momentum based.
And I struggle with physical stuff in the heat. Like I'll be like, body's not wore out.
Amen.
Lungs aren't wore out. Stamina's technically fine, but the profusely sweating
it just beats down on you
when I'm trying to think straight. I'm not trying. Excuse me. I'm saying it's actively very difficult for me, and I didn't excel at.
Can you walk me through that drive that you had? That Mike
I'll walk you through it. Hole 7 or hole 8.
Where were you playing, by the way?
Crescent Hill.
Okay.
First time out there.
It's like the one time, only like one course I haven't played.
Second time on a course, which doesn't mean anything. I've had plenty of trips down to different strokes here in the last 3 or 4 weeks. I knew I was going to be leading up to playing some golf. I just didn't know when. I knew it was kind of going to be around 4th of July timeframe. I knew I was going to have more off days. And I've been at the range, and I'm not making any excuses, Dalton, right? But leading up until July 3rd, which is the day that we went golfing, I'd probably gone to the range like 3 times in that 7-day span of the week leading up until this past Thursday. And my fingers going into this, like my drive number 1 that day hurt my hands, right? So
why is that? Like what? Is
I've got grip issues.
Wait, you're gripping? Are you holding it like a baseball bat?
No, I think I'm on my
interlocking it
at the top. I'm not doing that either. At the top of my backswing, I'm gripping the thing harder than I am when I go up, and I'm trying to kill it on these drives. So by my 5th drive of the day, I'm tired. I've exerted too much energy trying to drive the ball, and it's not the same thing with my irons. I'm not saying I'm good with my irons, but
it's not the same problem.
I'm not overworking my hands and my arms with the irons like I am with this driver.
That's fair, though.
I'm just out there trying to kill it, and I know I don't need to.
I used to have that same problem, bro. And this winter, I'll just be honest with you, I kind of tried to cut corners, and thing about it is golf is it's a pay for play. It's hard to get good at golf because you gotta pay for it. It's expensive.
I don't get paid enough. To go get good quickly.
So and same thing is with lessons. If you're trying to get that much better, to where I spent so much time over the winter when I had downtime traveling, fixing my grip, fixing my mechanics, and I don't know if I did it right, but I mean, I consistently went from shooting in the 110s to like that 120 range to now, I mean, consistently about 90 to 100. It's changed significantly. Like you wouldn't think so, but something so minute as like changing the way you're holding the club.
Yep.
It's awesome to hear. But you all weren't here to listen to golf. 502-414-1450. The text line here to get any thoughts in. We got a lot of stuff to get to on the show today. Michael Brown Jr., All-Star 5 in the FIBA World Cup. Should have been the most valuable player. More on that coming up shortly. Talk about the Vince Morrow effect being in full swing. Multiple commitments over the weekend, including from the number 1 player in the state of Kentucky. Talk about why this Louisville running back duo is going to be a top 3 duo in the country. We also might talk about some updated height measurements. Kenai Roots is now 6'10" listed. You believe that? 6'10"?
I don't deny it.
I have an issue.
If it was just him, I believe it.
I have an issue when it comes to official measurements. We'll talk about that shortly. But get in on the Game Day Men's Health text line 502-414-1450 to get any thoughts in on this July 7th edition of the show. The YouTube stream is on and going. If you search up Big X Sports Radio on YouTube, you can see my vintage Rocket shirt. You can see Rome's vintage Louisville City shirt. Louisville City doing a hell of a job this year, by the way. But nonetheless, Michael Brown Jr. capped off a really good string of performances with the United States U19 World Cup team. They won the gold medal in Switzerland. 109-76 victory over Germany. In the 7-game run that the 5-star point guard appeared in, he led the team.
Let him know, dog.
This was a star-studded team.
Let him know.
He led the team in points per game, in assists per game, in three-pointers made per game, in efficiency numbers per game. And when you see that, you think, oh, this guy's he's going to be the most valuable player. No. Goes to A.J. DeBansa. Are you mad?
Yeah. I hate to be mad about something that I know isn't important.
I mean, mad in a respect. Like, you didn't walk out the door like, my day's ruined, AJD won the MVP. But, like, it kind of irks you because it's like,
just another detail.
It's a lazy selection.
And it's affiliated to do with Louisville. And I get the people making this selection don't have Louisville in mind at all with this process, but it's just the fact that it's like every time we've got something good, there's always going to be some little hitch to it that just feels like as a Louisville fan, we don't get the, not necessarily perfection to it, but because nothing's perfect, but we don't get to feel the 100% aspect of what's happening. And what's happening is we've got the best point guard in his class, and he just went and played in a tournament with a group of guys where he displayed he was by far the most ready-to-play offensive talent out there at this level. And he showed that statistically too, Dalton. And it's just funny that reputation, name, and a couple of alley-oop highlight dunks that were thrown from yours truly is what earned him the hype to get enough hype to give him the award. Is that what it is? It's not.
I mean, he
wasn't even the third best guy out there statistically.
I mean, I thought
second.
I thought that the best players that I saw from the USA team consistently, Michael Brown Jr., I thought Koa Pete was number 2 for me.
Yeah.
I'll be completely honest with you, the Arizona signee. I thought that, I mean, AJD had a good tournament. I'm not going to act like he was a bad player, but, like, I'm talking about the MVP, and I'm like, I just don't know I don't know what else Michael needed to do. It felt like a very forced decision. Like, AJD is, like, the quote-unquote chosen one of this class,
Let's
right?
give the most valuable name the most valuable player award, even though he wasn't the most valuable
organization
talent out
gives
there.
Nike athlete MVP honors. It might be wearing too large of a tinfoil hat. But overall, I mean, it is what it is because what I learned, or what I continue to learn from Michael Brown Jr., with each of these tournaments that he plays in, or each of these summits, like we saw it in the McDonald's All-American game, we saw it in the Nike Hoop Summit, and now we are seeing it with the USA squad. Like, he is performing at the highest level with the best guys. It's not like he's playing teams with bad players. He's competing with and against the best in his class, guys that are supposed to be some of the best players next year. I just find it very interesting the way that the national media has kind of shifted their perspective a little bit. Going from, okay, yeah, Michael's number 1 point guard. That was how a lot of people, national media, whether it's the draft scope or national recruiting or just from a college basketball landscape, there were some notable people that I saw go from, yeah, Michael might be PG1 to, are we totally sure that this guy isn't the best freshman in the class? And there were some people that I'd seen out there say, you know what? Put freshmen to the side. This is going to be one of the best guards in the class. I mean, the worst thing.
One of the best guards in the country.
Yeah. I mean, country. I didn't mean class. One of the best guards in the country. Yeah. It goes from not just a freshman scope, but the entire country.
Yeah.
And one of the things I really, really try not to do unless I'm just completely sold and confident in something is putting the cart before the horse and try to build up too high of expectations, because I think that can sort of be counterproductive as well. But, guys, this guy, I mean, Daryl Griffith. Daryl Griffith was one of the best guard prospects in the country coming out, I don't even know what year that was. 76?
76.
Was it 76? I know his name is on that banner in Male High School. That's where I announced basketball at, and graduated from. Shout out Male Bulldogs. But it's been a long time since 1976, guys. Who's the last guard that's been this good going into the season that we've seen? I mean, in our lifetimes. I was born in 98. Were you born in 98?
98.
Okay, Matt, when you were born?
99.
99. Gosh, we're getting old, fellas.
About to be 30.
Don't get me started. But
Non-freshman, just any guard.
no, I'm talking about freshman guard.
None. There's not one.
I don't even think there's one close.
In our lifetime, not a freshman. No.
Like who even? I'm trying to think of all the great
We're hiring
guards.
Terry coming in.
All the great,
Not like this.
Even, I mean, you look at the elite guards like Terry. I say elite now, but like when they're coming in, Terry was like top 40, top 30.
I think he was like 27%.
Quentin was top 35-ish.
He was top in the state, though.
Donovan Mitchell's the one that I can think of. And even Donovan was like that borderline 4 or 5 star level guy. Like, he wasn't a for sure
4-star.
slam dunk, no pun intended. Guys. This is the guy. Like, this is the generational talent that Louisville fans have been asking for quite some time.
It is. And it feels like it's just a start.
I think a lot of that comes on to the fact that, we had a head coach in Rick Pitino who wasn't a big freshman guy. So, I mean, like, he liked to develop people, whereas you had Cal, at UK, he was the big freshman guy. So it was like completely two clashing heads. So, I mean, but you're right. We haven't had that many people, but a lot of it, I feel like, came down to the development aspect.
Yeah, you look where the last 8 years have been post-Pitino. The program wasn't in a atmosphere that was going to be bringing in high 4 stars or 5 stars.
Those are the facts. And there's an account out there that I like interacting with on Twitter. I really like the opinions that this guy puts out there. It's if you know who Baxley is, Baxley RJR on Twitter, said this: Michael Brown is a bucket, but pay attention to the nuance in his game. He gets the offense set, makes the correct read, decision in the pick and roll, knows when to distribute the ball, PG1. And I read that, and I'm like, yes. I think that's kind of putting a name to what I enjoy most about Michael's game, is that he does the little things really well. Like, yes, he's an incredible scorer. He's a great point guard. But I think that all of these little things kind of serve as the foundation for why he is what he is. Like, very rarely do you see him make the wrong read. When he does, he usually makes up for it. I think that there might be a little bit of a shot selection thing, like that fadeaway 3 he takes. Maybe that's something that he doesn't take a ton of.
It's funny because he's getting enough separation
and he's making
on that.
them to the point where I'm not mad at it, and I'm also to the point where all these 5-star guys are known for being the guy.
Yeah.
Some of these shots that he's taking now, I don't think he's really going to be taking as many when he gets to Louisville.
And he seems like the kind of guy that he has his head on right. Like, he knows that that's going to be the case. He knows what the right play is. And if he's made the comments that he's confident in Pat Kelsey's and his coaching staff's ability to put this offense in positions to be playing winning basketball. So I think he coincides perfectly with what winning basketball is going to look like for this Louisville team.
I agree there.
I also think specifically on those step backs, Dalton, he's getting enough separation.
Oh, he is.
He doesn't have to fade. He can just get on the step back and go straight up.
It's so Jordan Poole-esque the way that he shoots the ball, which is, again, Jordan Poole is often considered empty calories for an NBA team. I mean, who's he with now? I know he got traded, didn't he? New Orleans.
That's right. He's with Zion.
Oh, gosh, that's going to be such a success, isn't it? The Pelicans? Not.
All I'm saying, if there's a supermodel in the crowd, you're seeing those dudes combine for 80.
Producer
acting
Matt,
funny when
speaking facts on a Monday afternoon. We mentioned Kenai Roots, listed at 6'10". I got to be honest with you. This isn't just a Louisville thing. This is me in general. I don't trust these official measurements.
Don't do this.
Not just with I'm not saying here. I'm speaking from a generality perspective.
Okay.
This is every you see. I do not trust these official measurements online. So why'd you tell me not to do it?
Because can we just let Kenai be 6'10" today?
I've got to call it.
I'm right here with you, Dalton. I purposely didn't want to make
I hope
too
he's
much of a
6'10".
call.
I mean, he looks the part. I mean, he was what, 18, 19 years old?
What are these guys barefoot? That's what I want to know. Remember when the NBA changed it the 1 year they went to all the preseason media day, all that stuff went to barefoot for just 1 year, and all of the heights came out. Kyrie Irving's actually 6'1". Draymond Green's actually 6'5". Like,
that's how it should be.
Yeah, it should be like that.
I'm sorry, that's how it should be.
Because
if I wear steel-toed Timbs on the basketball court, that doesn't make me 6'4". I mean, I'm not close to 6'4" in general, but you know what I'm saying? Like, stop manipulating height. Somebody sends in a text. I don't feel like football lies about these measurements. Why does basketball seem to always add 1 to 3 inches? Thank you.
Yeah, they do.
That's it.
Well, we saw.
I think football is a weight. They do it. They do it with the weight. They add whatever they say weight is in football. Take about 5 to 10 pounds off of that. If
Weight's,
it's like a
weight's
smaller
different
guy.
though.
Yeah, true. It doesn't mean
and again, football, the weight does. Or I'm sorry, height really doesn't matter all that much in football as it does with basketball. Basketball matters more.
Yeah, more than the weight does,
especially for draft purposes. But at the end of the day, if you're going to the combine, you're getting measured anyway.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how many guys have you seen? It's like, oh, this guy's actually 3 inches shorter than I thought he was.
Yeah.
I'm going to get off my soapbox now.
No, you have every right to be on it, though, because basketball teams at every level, they're doing this now. High school teams, high school kids are getting, he's 6'10", he's 6 this, he's 6'11", and you come into your freshman year of college, oh, wait, he's actually only 6'9".
So I was announcing a basketball game. This was probably about 3 years ago now. I've been announcing for Mail since 2018. It's been a while now. And there was a team, and I'm not sure if they were playing it. It might have been like the King of the Bluegrass. And there was this team, and they given me the heights because you have to write them down on this lineup card. And that's usually not how it happens because high school, they don't really add heights all that much. But this tournament, they did. And there was this kid listed at 6'5". And I'm looking at the sheet, and I'm like, bro, this guy might be taller than me. I'm 5'9", 5'10". I'm not the tallest guy. 6'5"? And I'm looking at this, I'm like, bro, what are we doing?
You have to lie out loud.
I remember growing up, I went to the Peyton Siva Russ Smith camp at Mid-America.
Here we go.
They listed Peyton Siva at like 6'3" his whole career. And I remember walking up and seeing that dude face to face. For anybody listening, I'm only about 5'4". Okay, I'm not a tall individual.
You're 5'7" in my book, Matt.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
On the official Big X Sports directory and database, you're 5'7".
Okay, cool. We'll scratch that. We'll leave 5'7" on there. But I might
be 5'8" next year.
I might have been at this dude's shoulders or his chin, and I was like, "This dude's supposed to be 6'3".
Yeah, Peyton and Russ definitely weren't over that 6'2", but that's what kind of makes it more incredible that they did what they did.
Kyrie Irving's the same way. He's been 6'3" his whole career.
Fred VanVleet, they say he's 6'0", and I'm like, dude, there's no way. I've stood next to him. He's maybe 5'10".
You see
maybe 5'10".
You see it on the other end too, where like I don't know if you all saw this past season in the NBA. There's like the Wemby controversy, where like he's listed at what like 7'3", 7'4",
something like that, yeah.
But he get drafted at 7'2", though.
Yeah, but then like there were pictures of him taken next to people who were that height, and he was like 4 inches taller than them. And so the conspiracy is that they purposely list him shorter than he is because of like health implications. That like that he might not, his body might not last as long.
Listen, man, I feel like when you're that tall, if you're over 7 foot,
there's health implications.
There's health implications built in. He's already experiencing them.
Yeah.
Wemby had he end the season with like a shoulder issue, something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was, but
he's already approached that. He's already in that Kevin Durant and Giannis category now, where it's like every time his height gets brought up, it's going to be a different number. Kevin Durant has been, you name the height, he's been listed at that in his time in the NBA. 6'7", 6'8", 6'9", 6'10". Now he's a 7-foot sniper. What is he then?
Same with LeBron. They said, is LeBron
6'8" or is he 6'10"?
Yeah. But does it really matter?
I think in Miami, he was 6'10", 280, but now he's back to the 6'8", 240.
Also worth noting, Ali Khalifa is a 7-footer, according to the Louisville directory. Javon Hadley is
grown an inch as well.
Grown an inch. Michael Brown Jr. grown an inch.
In a week.
Listen, man, growth spurts are weird.
I feel like they're saying, like, they're rounding up. They're taking that half inch, going up all the way to the next inch that it is. Because all these other schools are doing it too.
I'm going to be honest with you. It feels very old men yell at cloud type rant we're going on right now, guys.
It is. A little bit of a Spears on Sports-esque.
I think it's just more so the pent-up, annoying issues that I have with this.
Are now happening to your team.
And I don't know if these are wrong or right. I hate that kind of opened up Pandora's box, but at some point it had to be said. Like, these measurements.
It's only logical for Kanai to be growing, and if Kanai is growing, that's amazing.
I hope so, because it opens up a different pocket for him, right? Yeah. And I think he's a wing. Even at 6'10", he kind of doesn't play. And he doesn't play like a traditional forward. Positionless basketball is
He's not putting his back to the basket.
It's all skill sets. We got a couple minutes left before we head to our first break. What do we think about Kenai Roots this year? Because it depends on who you ask, and I feel like if you are really passionate about this, you think one of two ways. You either think that he's going to have a breakthrough sophomore season where he has a really, really good campaign, or he's going to be buried down the depth chart and barely play. Where do y'all side on this argument?
I think it's just a jump up from that last year. I don't think it's going to be the jump we all think someone with his skill set can and should make, but I do think he's improved. I just saw a video recently, like of a highlight video. The movements just look a little bit better. I get in an open gym by yourself with guys throwing you the rock and telling you exactly what movements. A little bit too. It looks a little bit more narrow. It's better. He's got it more in that shooting pocket, and he's getting it off quicker.
Not as mechanical.
Yeah, it doesn't look as robotic. It doesn't look like he's literally thinking about. He looks like last year's mechanics looked like me trying to hit a driver almost, in terms of how he's literally thinking about every aspect of his jumper out there. Let me catch it right. Let me get my hands right. Let me get my elbow right. Let me get my wrist right.
Overthinking it.
Yeah, clearly overthinking it, and then literally thinking the jumpers through.
I think he played more than I kind of thought that he was going to play last year due to all the injuries.
Yeah, exactly. But he also was playing out of position too a little bit. I think if he can get back to that perimeter, everything he is creating, it's being created for himself. From starting from the outside out on the 3-point line, getting downhill, utilizing his size, utilizing his stride. He's going to be having a lot more spacing this year too, Dalton. That's going to be one aspect of his game that I think we're going to be able to get to. He's going to have the ability to showcase more because he's got Isaac McNeely out there, Michael Brown Jr. out there, Ali Khalifa out there, Javon Hadley out there. No one on the floor, and he's going to have more minutes on the floor with a lot better spacing than he had last year, and that should open up his game, open up his ability to get by guys and not have to be overwhelmed with what's getting everybody coming to the paint to help defend because you're sagging off a Boubacar, you're sagging off a Noah Waterman. That's not going to exist this year. He's going to have room to operate. There's going to be less help defense to knock him off his path, and he's clearly getting bigger and stronger. So if he can just get more confident in his ability to put the ball on the floor and not question that jump shot, there's no reason for someone in his skill set and his size to not make improvements from last year with even more minutes and being put on the floor in positions that are more suited for his skill set.
Yeah, kind of good, bad news thing here. Looking at the raw numbers, the good news is he's got the room to grow. I mean, he averaged 3.3 points a game on 40% shooting, 23% from the 3-point line, 56% from free throw line, 3 rebounds, 0.3 assists, 0.4 steals. Like, the room for improvement is clearly there. Like, this guy can take a step forward. The bad news is that last year he played in 35 games, averaged 13.4 minutes a night. I'm just not sure how many more minutes he's going to get. Because this year, you have a more crowded team. You're going to be playing those 3-guard lineups like we continue to hammer home. Case and Pryor, hopefully, is back and fully healthy. You've got Sananda Defru coming in. Ali Khalifa's going to be able to play. Javon Hadley's back. The opportunity for Kenai Roots, it's probably going to be very similar to that of last season. And, well, how does he improve in 13 to 14 minutes? Well, he's got to make the most out of his minutes. He's got to shoot the ball better.
Got to be a defender.
He's got to do much, much more. So, but when we come back, we got some men's basketball hot takes that you all need to grade. We'll see how hot they are. You're tuned into Mondays with Dalton Pence here on Big X Sports Radio. We'll see you at the top of the hour.
This world that we're living in may seem chaotic at times. It's good to
July 7th edition of Mondays with Dalton Pence on Big X Sports Radio. D-Pence, Rome, and producer Matt in studio, taking you up till 7 o'clock tonight. 502-414-1450, the Game Day Health text line to get any thoughts in. We're going to give some hot takes, guys. Producer Matt, do you have a hot take? I know I kind of put it on you all very late, but do you actively have a hot take that you were sitting on?
I do, actually.
Rome, should we let producer Matt go first?
You willing to go first, Matt?
I'm fully down to go first.
Let's hear it.
Matt, let's hear it.
Okay, so my hot take really didn't take me that long to think of whenever Rome brought it up. I think I'm going to piggyback off of what we talked earlier. I think Michael Brown Jr. is going to break the U of L assist record in 25-26.
What is the record?
Is it the freshman record or
the all-time record? It is 200. It was 228 by Peyton Siva, but that was, taken away. So right now it is 226.
Okay.
By LeBradford Smith in the 89-90 season. Now, I did the math because I was looking at some of the records that, in the a little bit in the offseason stuff after the stuff we've seen with USA basketball. He only has to average 7.1 assists per game to break that record.
Does it take into consideration postseason?
No, that's only 31 games.
Okay. That was my question.
Or at least, I'm only counting 31 games. I think in the record stance itself, it does. It takes into consideration postseason.
226 divided by 31 is 7.29.
That's a lot. Leader assist per game in the ACC last year was Nathan George with how many? 6.2, I want to say.
Yeah, it was around there. I was actually low-key looking at this earlier because I was trying to figure out my hot take.
That's a squelching hot take.
Okay, so the assists per game leaders last year, Ryan Nimhard was number one with 9.8. If he were to get 7.29, that would put him sixth in the country if he were to have played last year. And number one freshman by a long shot. I'm trying to see who. Igor Demon from BYU averaged 5.5 assists. That is the number one. Actually, no, I'm sorry. Makai Connor, but he played for Sacred Heart. I'm talking Power 5.
Power Conference.
Igor was number one for Power 5 freshman, and he's ranked 35th. I don't hate it, though, Matt.
I'm looking at this in the sense of
it's a good hot take.
He is going to be.
It's crazy that if he said freshman, it wouldn't be hot.
What is the freshman?
I actually looked it up. I couldn't even find it. So I don't. It's got to be Siva or something like that. But I mean, he's going to get a lot of playing time at the PG1 position, and he's going to have so many weapons around him, whether they're coming off the bench or in the starting lineup. I mean, we're going to see a seriously high volume offense on this Louisville Cardinal team. I think that if we're going to have a freshman come in and do something like that, past the Peyton Siva era, obviously, it's going to be him.
I love it.
I don't hate it.
I'm not mad at it. It's a scorching take.
I'm here for the Michael Brown Jr. propaganda.
Scorching. It's a scorching take, but I love it.
It's a hot take because for a freshman to set the all-time assists, he's got the team
You're asking
around
him to be
him,
the best
though.
passer in the country next year.
Yeah, you're also asking for him to be able to have a Trey Young level impact to where he's just making all these passes.
And the thing is, skill set wise, with his passing ability, I've seen him make every pass that I need to see in order to believe he has the ability to go out there and do that. He's not going to get the minutes, I'm afraid, Matt.
I think he plays over 25.
I think it's right there.
Well, you think about it, and you've got three. Of course, I mean, this is from a very arbitrary argument here. You look at the three guard spots, right?
Yeah.
And there's 40 minutes for each guard spot. 120. Now, this is a very
vague,
X's and O's, black and white way to look at this, but you have 120 minutes, and you've got four guard options that if you have them play in between 25 and let's say 27 minutes, you can add all three of those up and still give Kobe Rogers a good amount. The only issue with that is that you're not taking into consideration Kenai Ruth's minutes at the three, Javon Hadley minutes at the three. That's where I think that I think 25 minutes a game for those four guards makes a lot of sense. It's going to be different every single game, but
with foul trouble,
it's probably not going to deviate too far from that norm.
I think you're right. I think you're right on spot on. But I just think for a freshman with his play style and what he's going to be asked to be as a shooter and just an all around offensive threat, it'll be tough for him to get over that six mark. I think just with 25 minutes a game, you're also going to be expecting him to go to get you 10 to 15 points, right? And he's also going to be spending time with Kobe Rogers. He's not going to be the 100% full primary ball handler every moment he's out there. He's going to have a lot of moments. He's going to have the ball in his half court.
Passes the ball
a lot. A lot of guys are going to average 3. That's one of the key things that you looked at. Every guy we brought in coming into last year, they were all up over that 2.5 assist mark, and then the guards were up over that 3.5 assist mark.
Yeah,
it's one of those things that you know that the Pat Kelsey system is going to generate as assists for everybody, and that's just one thing. I think in 25 minutes, knowing he's going to be he's going to be on the receiving end for a lot of assists as a scorer. It'll be tough to know that he's not the reason that majority of the points are going to be generated while he's on the floor as a playmaker, because he's also going to be a scorer. That being said, with that kind of passing ability, left hand, right hand, in the pick and roll, in transition, he's going to average over 5 assists a game. He's going to walk into 5 assists a game.
Yeah, no, I definitely
5 assists
agree.
are going to fall in his lap.
I think that's a good number. You just the higher you go up, it's going to be a little bit more challenging to foresee that. But 502-414-1450 on the Game Day Men's Health Line to get any thoughts in about the hot takes. What are your hot takes? Let us know. Send in a text. Rome, floor is yours, my friend.
All right. This kind of took me a minute.
That was a good one, though, man.
That was a great one.
That was actually the one I was like, I don't buy. Ooh, I might buy. Ooh, I don't know. That's a good hot take.
It's also not something I'm waking up every morning like, oh, this is definitely gonna happen.
Yeah, hot take is that. It's like everything has to go right. But I think a good hot take is one that makes you go, well, hold on now.
The opportunity is there.
Yeah, of course.
Mine, I think at initial thought, you guys aren't going to feel like it's as hot as it really is. But I do think a lot of people will agree that there's going to be improvement. Where, if you guys had to guess, you may already know, before I give this take out, if you had to guess, just real quick, Dalton, Matt, where would you guess Louisville ranked in 3-pointers made per game last season in the country?
Bottom 50 in the country?
Not that bad. We improved at the end of the year.
We were not a good percentage team for
great.
I take it back. I would say middle of the pack because our percentage wasn't great, but we shot so many of them to where
that we made a good amount.
Probably.
Louisville ranked 48th in 3-pointers made at 9.4.
Well, that's definitely better than middle of the pack. Gosh, that's top 50. I was equating that with the percentage.
I think Louisville basketball makes the most 3-pointers per game this season.
Again,
in the entirety of college basketball,
I don't hate it because you got the guys. Only thing I kind of worry about is like a Bama team or something. But
that was number 1 last year.
Listen, man. At all time, I mean, how many? That's a good one, Ron. That's a good.
That's what I'm feeling. Number 1 team last year hit 12.8. We hit 9.4 this season. That team was what was it? UNF, yeah, North Florida.
Yeah.
I watched them play like once or twice, and I don't think I saw a 2-point attempt. Like, it was some crazy stuff that I was watching. But I think Louisville can do it. We're going to have,
I think Louisville's going to shoot
all times, 3, 2, 4 guys on the floor that can hit one.
Yeah.
And a system that wants to get as many shots up as we possibly can.
You've got your 3-point specialist with Isaac McNeely, and he's going to be more than just that, but he is your go-to 3-point specialist. Woolley can hit them at a solid rate. Ryan Conwell's the same way. Michael, we just saw how good he can be 3-point shooting-wise. I don't think Pryor's struggles at the beginning of last season really tell the full tale of how good he can be. Khalifa is a mid-30% guy from 3. Hadley can make him. I think Fru's going to be able to step out and be respectable. Yeah.
We were 12th in the percentage in the ACC, but we were number 2. We were number 2 in makes. Duke was the only team above us. I do have one more scorching hot take here that doesn't have a lot of numbers behind it. It's just kind of a vibe take.
It's a vibes check, yeah.
I think Louisville's going to be the number 1 team in the ACC in steals per game.
Oh, I don't hate that at all.
I think we're going to pride ourselves on-ball defense. We're going to run teams off the 3-point line. We don't care if you get to the rack. That's okay.
We're going to get that ball. A pesky team.
We're going to get that ball out of the rim, and we're going to get up the floor fast. Or we're going to try to, I think the Chucky Hepburn defense, the Terrence Edwards defense, the point of attack on the ball handler, that's not going anywhere. That's a Pat Kelsey philosophy thing. That's what Kobe Rogers was 2 years ago. Yeah. That's going to be prevalent here. Isaac McNeely is no slouch defensively, and that's Would you
Not
call
to
that?
mention the front court guys you have.
And I don't even. I think that's going to be a plus for us. I think that's the lack of question marks is their defense in the front court rather than the offense.
Exactly.
I think if McNeely's your worst guard defender with the hustle I saw from him and the strength to not get beat off his spot as someone with getting attacked from ball handlers.
Yeah.
Kobe Rogers, I think he's going to start the season off 12, 13, 14, 15 minutes a game. And by the end of the year, he's ending games next to Mike Hill because that's your best, I think.
Depending on what you need.
Defensive matchup. Yeah, like in a close game where you're going up against fast guards kind of a thing.
Because, I mean, I think Ryan Conwell is our best player. I've said it once. I'll say it a million times. I think he's our best player. Third team All Big East last year, averaging 17 a game. Something that's not easy to do.
Not at all.
And for what he's going to be able to do, I think that he is I mean, it's so hard to say he's going to fill that Chucky role. I think he fills that Terrence Edwards Jr. role pretty well as a scorer. But I don't hate that hot take because I think that they're still going to shoot a lot of threes. And with the pace of play that they shoot or the pace of play that they play on offense, I mean, that's number one's, I mean, of course, the pinnacle, only one team gets that. But if you would have told me, like, top 5, top 10, I probably would have just bought it immediately. That is a good hot take, though, because I'll sit there like,
They're going to speed teams up. They're going to try to make teams play faster than they want. The ball handlers, I mean, I think we're going to press. I can't imagine we're not going to press. Half court, you're going to feel our pressure.
Maybe. I mean, pressing's never really been it's never really been like a trademark of a Pat Kelsey system.
But at the end of the year, they started.
You're playing so much like high octane offense, and it's so quick to where the defense is where you sit back and you sit down in coverage and play that half court defense because.
Remember the Bahamas though, the very very first Bahamas trip. As soon as they passed half court, they locked up defensively because they knew those subs were coming in fast. And I get that's because. Yeah. Hey, go out there and defend hard. Let's just see what happens.
There's a difference between half court, though, and full court press.
Yeah, well, that's, I mean, they're going to be, I think it's going to be more of a half court pressure, not a full court. You can't full court press all season long.
Guys, you all kind of put some pressure on me.
I think the three-point shooting is going to lead a little bit more half court pressure. If you're making teams play fast and you can press them at half court as soon as they get past that line and speed them up from there, you're going to force longer shots, I think, and force more three-pointers. So, we want to play fast. I think the three-point ticket's not as hot as the steals, but I think we can be the number one threes per game made. Three-pointers made per game in the country next year.
I fully follow that one, 100%.
Yeah, I mean, it's hot, but it's not, like, unbelievable out of left field.
Because, I mean, like you said, we graced the top 50 in three-pointers made last year, and through our first 15 games, we had one of the lowest three-point percentages in the country.
We were terrible.
And I mean, Pat Kelsey said hundreds of times, he's like, guys, we can make these. They're just not falling. I'm telling the dudes to keep shooting, and they did. They started falling at some point. A lot of that,
better shooters.
A lot of that, I feel like, is a lot of almost everybody on the team had never played in some of those like environments just yet. Coming from a bunch of smaller schools, and now we have the dudes who have. They played in the NCAA tournament. They've played in those big environments. I completely agree with you on that, Roman.
I agree. I guess I'll hop into mine. This is kind of an interesting one. I think that 2 of these 3 things are going to happen. I think that Michael Brown Jr. will be a top 5 pick. Pretty lofty expectation.
Very. For a Louisville player.
Yeah.
Never had one.
I think that Louisville beats both Kentucky and Duke. And then the third, again, 2 out of these 3 have to happen. And also we make the Elite 8. So,
wow.
One of them, of course, doesn't have to happen. But I've been very adamant that I think Michael's going to be the best freshman guard. And, of course, youth and potential kind of reign supreme with NBA draft talk. So I think he's a top 5 pick. I think that Louisville is going to match up well with both Kentucky and Duke, who I'll be honest with you, I think that they brought in some good players, but in the way that they fit, I'm not sure.
We played Duke twice.
We played them twice.
Did we play them twice?
I think that this year is different.
I thought we played them once.
I thought that this year they changed it. We do play them twice. I can look it up.
I know we didn't play SMU twice.
I thought SMU was the only team that we played twice.
I heard Mike say something about us playing them twice.
Okay, but the third one is we make the Elite 8. That's a pretty solid.
That's very hot. I think they got hotter, like.
Again, a combination, any 2 of the 3 have to happen here.
I mean, BJ Edgecombe excluded. Like, point guards don't go top 5 very often these days.
There haven't been many good elite point guards in classes recently.
Yes, we do play Duke twice.
Okay, so you just have to, I mean, kind of
the KFC, the Yum Center game, you beat them both in the Yum Center?
Well, I can agree with that. You beat them both in the Yum. We'll say that. You beat both teams in the Center, and or Michael goes top 5, and or Louisville makes the Elite Eight.
And you're saying two
out of those
three are happening, and that's your hot.
It says
Dalton.
It says this is the part of the new conference schedule format where teams play one rivalry opponent twice, and it says in parentheses Louisville's is SMU, and one other team twice.
They're our secondary partner.
Yeah,
Duke is.
And then one of them they play home and away.
What do we think?
I completely agree with it. Those were two things. I wasn't thinking really about the draft picks, but on the way here, I was definitely thinking about the Duke and UK game because both of them were those games that you felt like if one or two things went differently, that they could have taken both of them. Like they were both really competitive basketball games. And
with a hurt team.
And I think you're coming in there fully. If you can come in there either of those fully healthy, I mean, I just think that Louisville's guard play is going to be so dominant.
I do too
in this season. Whereas Kentucky on the other end has really great front court, But in college basketball, it's what your backcourt can do. And I just think it's going to be a battle, at least in the Kentucky game. But I just think that like it's almost hands down how good the backcourt for UofL can be.
I can't disagree with you there at all. Now, specifically, Dalton, on this, I can't. Let's throw the Elite Eight to the side. We'll address that next because the way I feel about this roster makes my opinion on that not feel hot. You know,
it does.
So we have one of the best 16-team rosters in.
But when you kind of separate, it's like okay, these three are like two of them have to happen.
Two of the three happen at the same time. Now, granted, if we beat those two teams in the Center and make the Elite Eight, there's no way Michael's not going top 5, I feel like. But I hate to be this form of a devil's advocate. I hate this take right here. But I'm going to do it. When's the last time we beat Duke?
Oh, gosh. I mean, 2020?
Yeah, 2020.
Well, 2020, but that's because we basically didn't have a basketball program for 2 years.
That season went on to not matter. But outside of that, before that, we've had some tough ones.
We had a coach that was arguing about the guy didn't have the right tights on. He tricked me because he played his own defense.
I get it. I don't want to.
The distance between, with the Kenny Payne stuff, it's
just the fact that we haven't beat either one of those teams in quite some time.
That's why it's a hot take.
Feeling like we're going to beat both in the same season. I don't want to make the mistake of, I agree. That's my thing here. I thought we were going to beat Kentucky in both sports last year. And we did, right? So the feeling, when I get to that kind of point about something, it's like, geez, can we go and do something, two different things in the same season that I haven't watched us do in quite some time, either one of the two things? That's where it's hard to feel confident in knowing that that's going to happen, right? Because you can never know. You can't guarantee those kind of things. But I think I love the way we match up. I know what that crowd's going to look like in the Center on those games. I know we're going to have that advantage there. Both in the same season.
It's a hot take.
It's hot. No, I'm with you. It's just I can feel its heat. I can feel its heat for sure.
There's a lot of hot takes given out today, but one that I can really, without a doubt, tell you all is not a hot take is that if I ever get injured in an accident again, I'm going to the Collier Law Firm.
100%.
Because truthfully, Tony Collier, Louisville native, spent his whole life dedicating himself to civil litigation. Look, when I tell you that Collier Law Firm is committed, he is Michael Brown Jr. committed to leveraging extensive experience and resources to fiercely represent injury victims, safeguarding rights, and ensuring maximum compensation is received permitted by law. So if you or someone you know is injured in an accident, call the Collier Law Firm, 502-736-8141, or go to collierlawfirm.com. Tell them Big X sent you. That's Collier Law Firm at 502-736-8141. When we come back, it's time to talk about the Vince Morrow effect being in the full swing of things. The Cardinals might get a 4-star commitment while we are on air next segment. You don't want to miss it coming up on Big X Sports Radio. We'll see you here in a couple minutes.
Michael from the Warren Treaty.
Hello, Michael.
From the Warren Treaty.
Producer Matt, what's going on back there?
I don't know. I was in the middle of the video. It just started playing an ad. Like,
hey, man.
Oh, yeah, he does that. Yeah, I've had that happen to me.
Anyways, before Michael butted in and told us about, I'm not sure what he was going to tell us about, but third segment of the show, we got 2 more to go. We take you up till 7 o'clock tonight. It's a pretty fitting segment to talk about Vince Morrow's effect, and hopefully this doesn't blow up in our faces, but at 6:30, 5:30 Central Time, 6:30 our time, 4-star safety Jaden McGregory. Is it McGregory, right?
Yeah.
He's making his decision between Minnesota, Missouri, and Louisville. And, of course, we will let you know the results of that commitment when he makes it, but that would be a huge addition to the 2026 class. Of course, with Vince Morrow joining the fold from Kentucky, we knew that he was going to make a really solid impact. I think that the main question was going to be timing. How long was it going to take before we saw those dividends pay off? And the answer, truthfully, is not long at all. The Morrow effect is in full swing. Louisville gets the number 1 prospect in the state of Kentucky to commit. Committed on July 4th, by the way. Jarvis Strickland just decommitted from Kentucky 2 weeks ago. Rumors started swirling immediately that he was going to eventually be a Louisville Cardinal, and he makes that announcement. Hopefully he stays with that commitment, something you got to feel like you have to mention, that with decommitments becoming much more popular with each passing year, you hope that you can keep these guys in the fold. But this is the type of prospect that Louisville just really never had a success rate with getting without Morrow leading up to this point. I'm talking about like the high 4-star level guy from the non-Louisville area, from elsewhere in Kentucky. Kentucky had made it their bread and butter to go out and get those guys, and if the player didn't go there, it was probably Ohio State or Michigan.
Yep.
But now you go out to Paducah. Can't tell you the last time that Louisville got a commitment from Paducah. It probably was, Hunter Cantwell? Gosh, that was so long ago.
You've done some work out in Paducah.
I guess I've driven there, yeah.
I feel like I hit you up one time and you were out there.
What does that have to do with guys committed?
It doesn't. I'm just saying.
Fair enough.
We like Paducah on this show.
Do we?
I've been there once.
I've been there once.
What'd you do in Paducah?
Stopped by, got some gas.
Okay.
Way home from somewhere.
Beautiful vacation in Paducah.
Really? Land between the lakes? Is that where that's at? Land between the lakes? Around by Murray State, isn't it?
Yeah.
You imagine what the vibes were like when John Morant was doing his thing back in like 2019?
No.
Paducah was going crazy. I guess. He's got to look it up. You love Paducah so much you don't even know anything about it.
The land between the lakes.
It's right by Paducah, isn't it?
Yeah.
Down in that southwest corridor. See, I kind of know. I have driven there. I cover the entire state of Kentucky for my day job.
You see a lot of interesting cities in Kentucky?
No, not at all. It's probably the lack thereof. But just goes to show, there's this narrative surrounding the state of Kentucky recruiting that 4-star level guys really aren't 4-star guys.
Yeah.
They play a lack of competition, so it kind of makes them look better than they are. There are recruits every now and again that are high 4-star guys that end up beating that narrative. I think that Jarvis Strickland is going to be a guy that does just that. I mean, when you watch him,
he looks different out there compared to everybody else on the field.
He fits in that category of people this large shouldn't be able to move this quickly.
Yeah.
6'6", 300 pounds. Dude, the footwork, incredible. Extremely athletic. When he gets beat, he's got that athleticism and quickness to be able to recover. The one thing that I will say, and I do think he projects as a multiple-year starter at Louisville, whether it's protecting the blind side or if it's a right tackle, and I think he's going to go into the NFL. The only caveat here is that I don't think he's ready immediately. I think he needs a year. And sort of with offensive linemen, you need puberty. You need maturity. Very few freshman offensive linemen do you see come in and make that big of an impact.
Got to turn that baby fat into man muscle.
I mean, 6'6", 300 pounds. It's just a matter of getting in the weight room, refining that muscle, and just honestly zoning in on the technique. And I trust, Coach Owens. Is that Richard Owens? Is that our tight end coach? our offensive line coach. I think Richard Owens is our offensive line coach, if I'm not mistaken. I got this wrong on a show earlier, and it kind of threw me off. Yes, offensive line coach for Louisville, Richard Owens. Really, really solid. One thing with Vince Morrow that I was hoping he was going to do was just revamp the offensive and defensive line recruiting. And I think that we need to have an honest conversation. Vince Morrow's not going to land us every recruit that we are in for. Just like Vince Morrow is not going to prevent every single commitment from honoring that commitment. There will be decommitments. But what hiring Vince Morrow does, it proves to me that you're serious about trying to get to the next level. Because the way that you do that is you vamp up the recruiting department. It proves to me that even though in the era of NIL and the transfer portal, recruiters like that might not necessarily have the pull that they did 10 years ago, but you saw Kentucky fans talk about this was like a nothing burger, like it was insignificant. Obviously, it's not true. You flip Jarvis Strickland. You also get a tight end from Florida, one of the best in the state, Julius Miles. Lined up a ton at wide receiver. Louisville's, adamant on making him a tight end.
6'6", 210.
Moves like a gazelle, man.
Yeah.
Just moves like a gazelle. Moves really well for his size. Not really Jamari Johnson, where he's like a really large 6'5", 270, 6'6", 210, but just a player that you hear about being a multiple sport athlete. He was a track and field star. Do you know what he averaged in basketball this year?
I didn't.
26 and 11, bro.
Jeez.
You can't tell me that athleticism is not going to translate to the next level. That's a hooper, bro. It's like T. Higgins level hooping. Like, this guy's going to be able. This guy's going to be able to jump out of the gym type talent. Now he's from Freeport, Florida, which I'm not like a Where's Waldo type guy, but that's like northwest Florida, like on the Panhandle. Sorry, I'm trying to sit here and look for this commitment as well to see if he ends up committing. But that's another commitment that it's like, yeah, that's the type of tight end, that home run threat that even though it might not always be just Vince Morrow there, because he did make an official visit to Louisville at the end of June, and that weekend was really successful. And Jade McGregor was also a guy that was there on that June 20th weekend for official visits. I think that it's just, this is the class where I feel like Louisville's putting more resources into high school recruiting.
They are. They're trying to exhaust any opportunity they can to go and put themselves in a position to get better, Dalton. We obviously don't have the millions and millions and millions to work with like some of these other programs to just throw money at every single top talent.
I'll donate.
But we've got to go and do what we can. And if you've got someone you've got a relationship with, a good relationship with that you can trust, and he can come in and he can make one aspect of your football team better, and it's and if that one aspect is recruiting the high school ranks, then you're getting better. You're on path to getting better now. You're on path to getting more of those in-state guys that he's able to establish connections with at certain schools with his time at Kentucky. You're going to go be able to add what he was looking into at his time at other areas in the other regions in the country. So you got better by adding Vince Morrow.
It's just copium, bro.
Exactly. That's all. They know it.
Doses.
They know it.
Copium.
They know it. We got better. Our recruiting department got better. We're now bringing in even more talent than we were on path to bringing. And I think there's also probably like I don't want to say a shift in the philosophy, but whatever the high school mindset philosophy was going forward for Jeff, obviously it wasn't going to be an immediate thing. It wasn't even going to be a year or two thing. Can we bring guys in year 3 and year 4, and in year 5, year 6, get them on the field? And that's kind of what they're starting to do now, so it's great.
I mean, Vince Morrow's not Allen Iverson. He's not the answer.
He's not Jesus Christ.
I mean, there you go, Roman. Headline, Vince Morrow, not Jesus Christ. Roman Kelly. What do you think about that, producer Matt?
I'm clicking into that article immediately. He's got me locked.
Tell Rutherford to put this on his blog. Vince Morrow equals Jesus Christ?
He said it. He said, somebody asked him a question. He's like, well, look, I'm not Jesus Christ. And that was his answer.
Oh, what was it?
We got asked a recruiting question. Okay. His first reply was, well, look, I'm not Jesus Christ. Me and Mike ran with that the next day, obviously saying any comment about it.
I'm really, really glad, because we went from like Allen Iverson to Jesus Christ really quick. Bro,
I thought you would have heard it when we were making a joke about him saying that.
Dude, there's so much that goes on in my day where I'm just like, what? What happened?
Yeah. But if he can go and get the number
All those
one
drives
offensive
to
tackle,
all those drives to Paducah, man. It's not
spending
easy.
too much time out in,
It's not easy, bro.
unorthodox cities in Kentucky.
Elite cities, according to you. You love Paducah. You got gas there.
They got the number one offensive tackle.
That is true. We appreciate Paducah for that. I'm not slandering Paducah, but if that's the case, do you like fancy cities now just based upon their gas stations?
If they've got potential.
Who's got the best
recruits.
gas stations?
That's tough.
I
That's tough.
guess if they got the 4-star Louisville recruits.
Where's Michael from? Yeah, good gas station.
Orlando.
I haven't been down too long. Wouldn't remember. You a big gas station guy?
I mean, I go there. I mean, it sometimes inconveniences me. There's a little bit of like a contentment when you see a full gas tank and you feel like, oh yeah, I'm that guy. And then you pull into a gas station and you got 1 mile till E and you profusely sweating because you don't know if you're gonna make it.
Yeah. No other human on the planet knows I almost didn't make it to the gas station just now.
I'm sitting here watching this live video.
Is he live?
He's live right now. I'm watching it on Instagram and I can't hear it, of course, because we're talking on air.
Waves here, yeah.
Yeah, the airwaves, and I don't want to make any issues, but
He's Lady Mom in the chat here saying at Briggs Cherry, at Julius Miles, let's do it.
he's just talking to the camera at this point. I get it. You got to build up suspense. I'm hoping that he breaks his commitment at some point while we are on air. We're on air for 25 more minutes. So here's what we're going to do, guys. We're going to go to break a little bit early because of this. Producer Matt, let's send us into the final segment. And when we come back, Jaden McGregory talk. Also, Isaac Brown, Duke Watson, top 3 running back duo in college football, ? You're damn right. We'll tell you why. We'll tell you why here on Big X Sports Radio.
Kentucky roll call.
The future of UK, maybe not for 2025, looks brighter, though, with the
Mondays with Dalton Pence here on Big X Sports Radio. D-Pence, Rome, and producer Matt taking up till 7 o'clock tonight. We are actively waiting to see what four-star athlete/safety Jaden McGregory does or decides to commit to. He is on Instagram Live at the moment, but apparently he said the live ended and he said 5 minutes. So, he's back on live. So we are waiting to see what he decides to do. It's down between Louisville, Minnesota, and Missouri for the four-star safety from Des Moines, Iowa. Hopefully the vibes. Hopefully he commits before we get off air, guys.
That would be cool.
But I don't know. This shows all four of the commitments, man. We got, you remember the Adrian Woolley breaking news?
Got that on air, yep.
Dude, that was wild. You believe that was 2 months ago? Looks like he's arranging the hats at the table currently. I imagine he's going to give a little bit of a speech, but we'll try to give you as many updates as we can on that. But, someone asked me if this was a hot take or not. If Louisville had a top 5 running back duo in the country, and I said it's not a hot take at all because they have a top 3 running back duo in the country, led by Isaac Brown, who just set the freshman rushing record.
Duke Watson, most yards per carry.
I overthought it. I was like, dude, it was Lamar, right? And I was like, no. I'm like, yeah, it was Lamar, the freshman rushing record. Set it last year with that win over Kentucky. Had a great game there. Overall, 1,173 yards and 11 touchdowns for a true freshman. It's pretty nice. And then you've got Duke Watson. And listen, Duke Watson is the best-kept secret in the ACC. Anytime you have a backup running back who has 67 carries and averages 9 yards a carry, your running back room is going to be pretty good. One of the major wins this offseason was retaining both of those guys.
That was their best move.
I think it was the
most important aspect.
Well, maybe Miller Moss because you did need a quarterback.
Yeah.
But you're going to run the ball a lot. I think IB and Duke Watson is a top 3 running back duo in college football. 502-414-1450, the Gameday Men's Health text line. Get any thoughts in as we wrap things up in July. Of course, at this point, not a ton to talk about on the airwaves at the moment. We are in those dog days of summer, but with each passing Mondays with Dalton Pence episode, we get 1 week closer to that football season kicking off in late August. And for those college football gurus that think, okay, if Louisville's top 3, who else is top 3? I think you look at Penn State. Penn State has Katron Allen, Nicholas Singleton, 2 really good running backs. Notre Dame has Jadarian Price and, what's his first name? Jeremiah Love. Those are the only 2 backfields that I'm like, okay,
yep,
they're in the top 3 with Louisville. That's it. That is it for me. And I had somebody say, no. I'm like, why? Why not? Can you tell me why not? They're like, well, Louisville they don't have the explosiveness. And I'm like, well, did you watch Louisville last year? And he was like, a couple games. And I was like, you must have watched them with 100% opaque glasses on.
That's all they were.
Trying to tell me Isaac and Duke's not explosive?
That's all they were, Dalton.
I mean,
Duke Watson quite literally
9 yards a carry.
Exploded every time he touched the ball.
Every other carry, it's like he's sticking it to the crib. Isaac Brown averaged 7 yards a carry.
Only behind what? He was number 3 in college football?
Something like that. But don't forget.
Genty and Singleton, I think, like only people ahead of him.
Isaac Brown, it took him a while to be the feature back in this offense. He pretty
was
much
back number 3 at the start of the year.
Well, Maurice Turner got hurt. He was out for the year, basically. Don Chaney Jr. got hurt, and even when he wasn't 100% playing, when he was playing, he wasn't 100% and didn't have a huge impact. I mean, the only way that I could see like the running back duo not having the season that maybe I think is if teams just sell out on stopping the run. Like they're like, we're going to load the box. We know you can't throw it. That's not the case. You can't throw it. You got Miller Moss.
If they do that, then we're going to have the best receiving backs in the nation.
That's what I'm saying is that you're damned if you do, damned if you don't trying to guard this Louisville offense. You can sell out for the run and just let Miller Moss in single coverage dissect you.
Colin Lacey and whichever other backs out there are going to rip you apart.
With Chris Bell, and not to mention, if you spread things out and equally you'll go after each part of the offense, well, then you're just going to be able to run the ball. I think the offensive line is going to be pretty solid. I mean, teams sold out to stop the run in 2023, and they couldn't.
Because you had the fast back and you had the strong back. We could combat it either way we want it.
This year's different. But Isaac Garindo was a speed back as well.
He on top of the strength, he's just as fast.
He was a yards under contact guy. Producer Matt, what do you think?
I mean, like you all said, like when you're looking at the other teams that you can think of, like Penn State or Oregon or Ohio State, whoever you want to put on that list, Notre Dame. I mean, they compete up there just with them. I mean, like you said, Isaac Brown is like the third best running back for yards per carry. Duke Watson, I think, finished statistically as the best.
He was the best. He just didn't qualify.
He just didn't qualify because he didn't have enough touches. And now you got them both returning together. And I mean, I remember when we announced that, they both were on Instagram Live, I think, posted videos of them announcing they were coming back again, which I hadn't been this excited for a player to come back in a long time.
Matt, do we have a breaking news button that you can push?
We do. I had it queued up already.
Go ahead and push that button. Ladies and gentlemen, 2 minutes ago, four-star safety Jaden McGregory made his college decision on Instagram Live, and he chose between the Minnesota Gophers, the Missouri Tigers, and the Louisville Cardinals, and Jeff Brom has a new commitment. Ladies and gentlemen, the Vince Marlowe effect in full swing. Another four-star committed for the Cardinals program. Jaden McGregory, a top four-star player in the 2026 class, one of the best players in the state of Iowa. Four-star safety, really, really solid news if you are Jeff Brom. Coming off of a good weekend of fireworks, he said, we're going to make it a long weekend, Rome.
I'm not mad at it.
I'd hope not. I'd hope you're not.
This is great. Don't I hate to jump straight to the gun here, but our 2026 class has got to be stacking up to be one of the best in the country.
It depends on who you ask.
Got to be.
Let's look at it. Let's look at it. I think that there are some pieces in this class that might be holding the class back from a rankings perspective. And it's clear, like, Louisville believes in the players that they're getting. It's just that the rankings just kind of don't.
Yeah.
So right now, let's see, is he factored in? I don't think he's not.
I think the other day I looked it up, and I mean, there were obviously they're all different. Like 24/7 is different than on 3 or whatever. I think it was around like 26 to 30th is what Louisville was sitting before.
Right now, before you got the commitment from McGregory, both on the composite and the overall ranking, the Cardinals are 31st, and that's with 20 commitments. I can't imagine that
that's
they're
like double-digit four-stars, though, right?
Right now, according to the, is this the composite? Yes, this is the composite. Let me see if the 24/7 Sports has the same.
24/7 I'm looking at right now is overall and composite at 31.
But do they have okay? So 24/7 alone it's Jarvis Strickland is the only four-star commitment, but the composite has 5 commitments. I'll be honest, there's a chance from what I'm hearing that Louisville could be losing a pretty solid commitment, and that would take that number down. But you would be back at 5 with McGregory.
Yeah.
So, and that's not set in stone that this player would end up flipping, but there have been some rumors out there. I'm not going to say who that is. I don't want to cause anything out there. Let's hope that it just doesn't happen. But right now, Louisville's got, Jaden Broadnax from Florida, Briggs Cherry's a 4-star, Peyton Cook, Evan Hampton, Jarvis Strickland, and then you've got some other guys. You got 3 other players in the top 600. So this is turning out to be this is like a vintage Louisville class here, guys. This is a Louisville class to where you get like a handful of 4-star guys, you get your high 3 stars, and then you get your diamond in the rough hopefuls. Like, this is like the traditional bread and butter of the Louisville football recruiting efforts. And this is like when people ask me, why do you want them to recruit high school players more when you can just go to the portal? And I pointed to this year's, like, the market just can put you out for some players. You need to start to build that pipeline. So this is going exactly how I would have hoped that the 2026 class is going.
It's going great. Feels like it's going better than it's been the last couple of years.
Oh, easily. What was that, Matt?
I was talking about this the other day with somebody that, like, bringing up what you just said about, like, you can just go to the transfer portal, get some, like, dudes who have played already with more experience. But for me, the good thing about Louisville going so hard at these, like, young, freshman commitments and recruits is that, like, with so many other schools committing to the transfer portal and bringing, like, bringing in vets instead of recruiting younger dudes, it's going to attract these younger dudes to schools like Louisville more often, so you're going to see them in the years get bigger recruits because they see that Louisville's open to developing players still rather than just committing to getting a 9-year college dropout from Miami who's played 10 years of college football already, still won't go to the NFL draft.
Point.
And it just opens up a lot of doors in the future. But, I mean, like you said, like Jarvis Sturgeon's the only listed 4-star right now, but on here, I mean, we have like 6 dudes who are right on the border too at 3 to 4 stars. So they're like ranked 87, 88, 89. So I mean, it's basically personal preference.
I think that's a great point. I think it should slowly start seeing it come into effect too, with the way in which a lot more guys from other regions, you're getting some Freeport, Florida, like little regions like that, pockets of areas that we haven't typically been in. You see one of the top guys in that area come to Louisville. Now other guys in that area in years ago are going to consider Louisville now if we get in on them. So definitely smart to get into these high school guys, and you just save money at the end of the day, Dalton, Matt. When you can, you need a linebacker, right? You've got this kid. He's a redshirt junior. He's played a good amount of snaps the year before. If you've brought him in and you've let him grow, you've let him mold into the system, now you save a little bit of money because you're giving him just a little bit of a raise next year than trying to go buy someone who's fully established. He's played here, he's played here, he's played here, and he's improved in his last 3 stops. Of course he's going to be worth a crazy amount of money that Louisville typically doesn't want to be in the position of having to spend that for every single starting caliber position. Why not? Not why not. Obviously, everybody wants to bring in a freshman, let him come in, red shirt, and play him in his sophomore year or the year after that. So if you can start doing that more, you'll save yourself some money. And send that money instead of having to go get Miller Mosses, you go get the best wide receiver in the portal and pair him up with your Deuce Adams or your Brady Allen or whoever it is, your Briggs Cherry.
The issue is that Louisville was ahead of the game early on in the portal. They were really, really good. They kind of set the tone, and then your Blue Bloods and other schools started to shift their resources mainly to the portal. And Louisville, with as many needs as they had, it's not that they couldn't go toe-to-toe with some of these schools. It's that with all of the needs that they had, they couldn't, right?
Definitely can't do both.
Exactly. So you had to be smart. You had to have like a Moneyball approach to it, right? Of course, might not be the best reference there, but
I get it.
You had to like piece things together, right? So I think that what we're seeing with this high school class, and it's cheaper for high school players than it is for portal guys. Like the portal market has gotten really, really wild. It's got to correct itself soon, but it hasn't yet, and that's the only thing that matters. Not to mention buyouts that you're going to have to pay, and that factoring into revenue sharing. I mean, there's so much that's going into this now to where it makes more sense to just go after high school guys. And there's this rebuttal that, well, these guys are just going to transfer. Not at the rate you think. Look, you just had 2-star freshman running backs you brought back. It's cheaper to retain guys that have the relationship than just bring new guys in. It's cheaper to do that. It's more sustainable long term.
Those guys you haven't been full-time starters, you've been incorporating them. Now they're ready to come be these full-time starters, and they didn't get to this level and go, oh, I'm ready to play. Let me go ask for more money since I'm going to be able to play now that I've gotten the reps. Right? They're wanting to play here. They want to win here. They like the culture here. They like the way that they've been coached. It's a valuable asset to have. And like you just said, you got to – it's like I don't even want to say making something out of nothing because Louisville football is in a lot better position than most football teams outside of the SEC. You still it's making do with what you've got though, and they've been trying to tackle finding that balance, and I think you're right, Dalton. I think that they're finally going to be able to reach that.
No, I definitely agree, and this is just again, Louisville showed me that they care. They're starting to care more about high school recruiting because you don't go out and get a Vince Morrow if you don't care. Like, this is one of those moves that's like, yeah, I'm all in. And I like this move. I really like this move. And I think that with a commitment like Jade McGregor, and he kind of fits the mold of the types of players that Louisville recruits at defensive back right now, the larger defensive back, 6'2".
Yep.
So we don't get many players from Iowa. That's an interesting.
He didn't go to Iowa with the way that they like to defend there, and you thought they would have kind of tried to value this kind of recruit and make sure they did whatever they could to bring him in. But Iowa's the kind of school right now. They're not playing freshmen. They're not really playing sophomores either.
Who's the head coach at Iowa now?
Isn't he new? Isn't he like a second?
I'm about to say it's not. Is it? It's
new.
Not. It's not the same guy, is it?
I don't know most coach. I remember
they've had the same guy forever.
It's Kirk Fernance.
Okay, so Kirk Ferentz is still there.
Oh, okay.
I thought that he might retire after this year, and I hadn't heard anything. But I mean, he wasn't even. They weren't even in his final schools. Louisville, Missouri, and Minnesota were in
Iowa
final
basketball
schools.
got a new coach. That's what
Yeah, they got a
Ben
McCollum. Yeah, from Drake. That's such a good hire. Bro.
Great hire for them.
That's such a good hire. But I like this commitment. I really do think that the hire there is. It's not the end all be all, but there is a correlation between the stars and football rankings and the quality of player that you're bringing in.
100%.
So I know that there's some politics that kind of go into it, but
I think when you're, I don't mean to sound like this, I know we don't have much time, but when you're, and I get this is also improving, but when Louisville's kind of, I think that you have to weigh your options, Dalton. If you're not a contender, if you don't feel confident that you're 100% going to be that best team in the ACC every year, or guaranteed with what you're bringing in both high school and transfer portal, maybe take the benefit of spending less, prioritizing the high school, and just bringing in the skill positions in the transfer portal, bringing in 2 or 3 or 4 highly touted, all your money going to those guys, and let every other position be the most valuable high school player you can go get at that position and let them grow. I think that if you're already trying to go be the second best team, or you're combating to be right there at the same level of the best couple of teams in the ACC in the football, on the football side, take a different route. Save money and spend more on the options that are going to make you a better team directly, immediately, every single season. I think if you can go get as many 4 stars as you can, those high-level 3 stars, and then spend the high money on those key guys in the portal, which obviously you want to get out of that being quarterback, but really the other skill positions, go get the number 1 receiver. Go get the number 1 tight end. Go get the number 1 offensive lineman. Pair that up with the quarterback you've had for 2 years, the running backs you've been able to bring in, the offensive lineman you've been able to mold, right? It can just save you some money in the long run and give yourself a little bit more flexibility. But if you're not bringing in these kind of 4 stars, you're not going to give yourself that chance.
No, I definitely agree. And I think that, I mean, it feels like we're all in agreement on how Jeff Brom should proceed. So, Brom, if you're listening to this, no, I'm playing, but this is great work from Brom and company. But that is going to wrap up this week's edition of Mondays with Dalton Pence. We'll be back next week. Potentially a guest in studio to help us with that. So everyone have a great start to your week. Stay cool. We'll see you back here next Monday.
Go Cards.